So welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, to the DreamHack Open. We are getting ready now to jump into the second map between Ghost and Luminosity Gaming, the winner of which will move on to the grand final. And the loser, unfortunately, will have to go home here from the semifinals.
High stakes, high rewards, that's how it is.
Yep. And right now it is definitely leaning, at least in our eyes, towards Ghost, who had a very strong performance on the first map, which was Luminosity's map pick back on Train. We now get ready to jump into Ghost's map pick on Dust 2.
Dust 2 should be an even easier task than it was on Train, so Luminosity will have to step even more up than what they delivered on that Train matchup. So I'm really looking forward to see some fire, some straight up aggressive play from Luminosity. Show that style that we all fell in love with back in 2016. See if they can bring that back to the table. Henny with some aggressive ARPing, Lucas coming in with some nice AK plays. And it's going to be up to Ghost Gaming to kind of counter that. But they are pretty good on Dust 2. They also themselves have a pretty strong T-side on this map, so I would be very surprised if Luminosity could bring out a miracle here. But everything can happen. That's the beauty of CS.
All right, let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. It's our second map of the day between Ghost and Luminosity. Ghost on the T side, Luminosity on the CT side. And Ghost are going to start things off with a very fast push, it seems, all the way out the tunnel into the B-bomb site here. Yell attempting to hold the line, but does go down. It's the second, now third kill found from Ghost. They wipe the floor with the setup from Luminosity, and now leaves only one standing here. It's all going to come down to Henny in a 1 versus 4. Fortunately, he's already in a bad position to try and win this out. With full B-side control, there's really not much of a hope for him to actually get back into that site.
Yeah, I would say around a 1.5% chance of him winning this round at this point. No kit, 4 players to face. They even have utility, so if he gets one frag, they can just flash out the position. It's going to be hard for him to do anything. If he can get 1 kill, he'll probably be happy about it, but it's not going to be the case. He's going to have to rotate away, not give them any money for free. Just run away. Ghost are going to win the pistol.
Going to try his best to try and put some of these guys down from Ghost, but I don't think he's really able to find much. Ghost will still close it out, of course. And with that, once again, remaining flawless in pistols here so far in the series, by the way. Yep. We'll win out and get the early advantage to start.
That's something that you can always say, like, is a big piece of winning a best of 1 is getting those pistols done. In a best of 3, due to the amount of maps, basically, it's not as important. Yes, it's always nice, but it's not like match deciding as it can be in a best of 1 if you have 2 really close teams. In the best of 3, it leaves more room for you to kind of get that random factor out of the way. Because let's be real, like, pistol rounds are pretty random compared to all the other buy rounds when you have all the strategies and everything. But Ghost have been lucky so far, and they've been also good individually in these pistol rounds that they've had. That's a nice flashbang, though. Actually, that was a terrible flashbang. That was from a teammate. I thought that was a CT pop flash, but nope. Still was just waiting. And the push is going to be stifled for just a bit.
They have smokes ready to go, though, in order to get them at least out from the staging ground area from the tunnel here. The problem is Steel from Luminosity gets into the way of it. 1 player down. Yell is going to be able to peg onto a second now, and then Steel manages to take out yet another one as Ghost falls to pieces on their execute. Steel even trying to go for a knife kill there at the end as he runs out of ammo, but won't see that happen. We will see his teammate clean up shop quickly afterwards, though, as the immediate trade round comes in from Luminosity. We're going to be thrown into chaos at the start of this match as the teams will trade blows.
And we saw Wrench go into the gears because the second that first flashbang lands, that push was supposed to go in towards the bomb side, and then the Molotovs were supposed to follow. But I don't know if the angle got wrong or maybe the timing or something, because it definitely fully flashed the T that was about to head into the bomb side. And that kind of stifled the whole push. And also opened up for the rotations that the other CTs who were at that flash came in, got the information, started pushing aggressively, didn't find anything, and kept calling, okay, there's nothing on A, there's nothing on mid. It's probably going to be a B push. So Brosa, though, the nice Deagle answer. This is an investment round for Ghost as well. 2 scouts, one of them being taken out there, and then Deagle's back set for the rest.
Got the rest of Ghost still stacked primarily towards mid. Of course, Kusk taking the heat that he took from the upper tunnels is going to be backing up to regroup with this mid base of players in just a second. And for everyone else, we are going to see them push out onto the A site now that Steel has full control. He's walked all the way out on a catwalk. And of course, he's got this number 3 player, Henny, completely locked on long. They have to realize, of course, that Steel's moved up and taken the control at this point, but Henny doesn't seem too worried about a peek that could potentially come from Steel on the other side. There we go. Now he's seen it. Steel does try to inch out there a little bit to look for the frag. And in the meanwhile, the rest of Ghost is going to be walking up to the site. In a second, we'll see Neptune put the plan on the ground.
Post plant 4v4 with only flashbangs for both teams, but kids on the CT side, so definitely have a real big chance of coming in. Need that secondary fractal coming in, but Sub Rosa with the Mac 10 shutting it down. Yell coming in from CT now with the ARC. Neptune trying to challenge, but not hitting the kill just yet. It's just 2 players on the CT side now.
Steals most recent kill, really sealing the deal. And Neptune with the 2 quick shots on the scout. Both are being headshots in the process. Clean things up nicely for Ghost and allow them, for the time being at least, to retake control.
Really nice tournament so far for Neptune, the new player in the team. He was saying it in one of the interview pieces we showed here on the stream as well, that this is his first like big international event in his mind with this team, where they actually have some practice time together. And he feels like this is his time to kind of show, okay, what can I bring when I know the system of this team, and what can I kind of like, what potential can I show for the next couple of 3 months, where they will be obviously getting better, as a lot of teams do. You get that kind of 3-month intro period, and then after 3 months, you know where the level is going to be at.
See Henny play a little bit closer to the chest and mid. It's not just going to be him either. He's got a little bit more support. And really all of Luminosity trying to play aggressive on this round. Kusta did see the overpeak from Steel, though. Steel with some nice movement, at least he's able to get out of dodge. Not necessarily the same fate for Henny, who does end up meeting his maker back by the mid doors. Kusta will eventually push out from the B tunnels to finish taking down Steel. Nekas tries to rotate now, picking up the op from his fallen teammate, but nothing really to be picked up at this point. Steel, the miss on the scout shot, though, does push him back for now and denies access to the A site, but that's not important, as with Kusta's kill on Nekas, they've got control of B.
And remember, this was a full investment for Luminosity. They didn't have a lot of money to go around, but they went into it anyways. Let's see, $300 remaining on 2 of the players, 2 of the richest players as well. So Luminosity will be forced onto an eco low investment round. Unless they capture maybe a couple of guns here, then they might force around it, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Ghost know that they have to grow the economy. The Mac 10 can be sacrificed, the same with the Scout. But the other players are probably not going to go diving in too far. Sub Rosa, see if you can catch some, get some extra dollar on that Mac 10 flash timing in. Gets Lucas, but the other player is too far away.
So it will be, at the end of the day, Ghost that end up maintaining control of the initial lead after a little bit of a bump on that second round, of course, kind of throwing their heads at the wall with the push out from the B tunnels there and thinking they could get past the 2-pistol setup that we had from Luminosity. But a quick readjustment from them has now netted them 2 rounds straight, and they're back in control with Luminosity, of course, onto an eco.
Yeah, and this is like why the Ghost side, T side of Dust2 is so strong. Even if they make a mistake, they immediately find out, okay, what can we do different? What do we need to change? Where do we need to go now to keep ensuring that we have this constant flow of rounds going our way? And constantly being like proactive about your own mistakes and your own flaws on that T side is very important. Especially if you play against Luminosity, who can play very aggressive and constantly change their setups. Now still under big pressure.
Not having a lot of luck with his scout today, and he is going to be brute force push, but thankfully it works out as bait at minimum. Neptune comes back in with 2 kills a second later. The scout is going to be retrieved by a member of Luminosity. Lucas now picking it up. Re-challenge Neptune. In fact, I don't even think Neptune saw him cross then with the way he re-peeks there. Lucas moves right out, destroys Neptune. Works out to be a distraction at the very least, as in the meantime, of course, Ghost walked right into the A site and took full control. With an AK now in Lucas's hands, and at least 1 scout still sitting on an easily retrievable position for Luminosity. They might just call this off and decide to save now.
Yeah, interesting that Neptune's own Molotov actually becomes his demise in that situation. Wanted to throw it to block off any aggressive plays, but then it kind of made space for the 1 player to go in with the scout, and he knew Neptune's position. Got that dialed in. And a couple of weapons saved, I should say, for Luminosity, so they're pretty happy with this round to begin with. Scout and a AK-47 brought into the next one, so it's still going to be 4-1 for Ghost.
Yep, and they're buying next round anyway, so this just saves them cast in the long run. It's going to leave most players with an extra 2 to 3K in their accounts, which should be good, considering that right now things aren't going that great for Luminosity, so they need that extra cash for the constant rebuys that they're having to deal with. With, of course, the full rifles now coming in for them, there's, of course, also that re-enlightened chance. They do pick up the round and do start to push themselves forward a little bit more on the scoreline here. Ghost has remained strong, however, on this T side, so let's see if they can do it when they're going up against actual rifles.
He's getting to an early position towards B tunnels. CT's not really challenging. I'm playing a 2-man long setup, 1 site on A, and then the 2 straight B. That means mid is completely open in this kind of setup. They only have I think it's GL who's looking down towards mid from that B. That means that they can get mid to B access if they want to do the double smoke setup and then go for the straight B split. That could be one of the plays.
And there would be pretty much no resistance on that either from Luminosity right now with the way that they have things set up. It's really just Yell watching the door. He'll probably run down to play a little bit more aggressively on mid if there is a push from there, but if it's too fast, he'll have to stick inside of the B site and hope he can get to a good position in time here. Ghost at the moment is playing with Catwalk a little bit more, leading into A. With the strong setup here from Luminosity, though, including the 2 players at long, that's going to be hard to breach for Ghost if that ends up being their preferred path. They would have to hope that they get a clean entry on Nekas and can restrict the long players like they did a few rounds back. That's going to be their best bet, but here we go. We already have them moving in for pressure, including a drop down on the lower portion of this site. Henny has seen this, though. The scout shot connects, but it's not a kill. That's what he needs right now. There's a 1-for-1 exchange instead, with both Sabrosa and Henny falling from either side. And now Nekas is going to be challenged to Ghost, and he'll be destroyed by Steel to give Ghost control of the site. Lucas, the meanwhile, and Pit will choose not to contest any of this action for the time being.
Such a nice smoke, the one that you can drop down towards long, that kind of blocks off the area for the car player. And if you can get a flash timing in, you can get the short plan, and then you can kind of hold post plan from short, which is exactly what they're doing right now. Plus the flank that's coming from long with a perfect timing. Super unfortunate for Lucas that he didn't just stick that for another few seconds. And now it's going to be the save.
It's one of those frustrating losses of life there for Lucas. He's certainly not going to be happy with the way things panned out there. And the attitudes overall across the board from Luminosity are going to continue to get worse as the last 2 players once again have to back away, calling for a save, as Ghost is going to brute force their way into another round win, this time on a gun round. By pushing in with a nice stable execute from the catwalk, they will lose one of their players walking out, but we will end up seeing the bomb go down, or the bomb blow up there, and Ghost take control of the round.
I'm kind of wondering what the change would be now for the CT side of Luminosity, because they felt, okay, we got kind of screwed from the way that they were able to take short early. Are they going to be like pushing 2 guys aggressively short maybe to get that kind of control back, especially also with the fact that they're not holding mid specifically? Maybe that could be the play to kind of get some short control, and in that trade also get some mid control. I'm not sure, and this is probably also why they're taking the timeout. They want to make sure that, okay, what counter do we choose? Everyone's on the same page and everyone agrees that that is the way to go. But also, the best counter is the one that we get gone.
The question, though, is do they have the confidence to try and play someone at mid? Because when they had Henny doing it a few days ago, he was playing it very aggressively, like pushing through the door and things like that. So I don't think they're going to be able to get away with that versus Ghost. And I don't know if Henny's going to be comfortable playing that position with that factor in mind. They do have double op setup, so of course the option's open for Yell to play in that position too. But for now, they're still ignoring it. They're still leaving it wide open. If Ghost want to try to play into mid to Bs, they can quite literally walk right in.
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking that this double setup on short could actually be the play, because that aggressive play from Henny in mid will not be allowed, but you can do that boost on short with the AWP. You can just hold in refrag angles. You can make sure that they can't take a big amount of map control early on, and they are going for exactly this right now. Like, you can see it on the minimap. 2 players on short are kind of readjusting into what the guys from Ghost are doing, but Ghost, then again, okay, spots nothing aggressive out on long. No one wants to take control there. Gotta have the lurk on short, and then it's going to be the B explosion again.
Explosion, which actually fell apart quite a bit the last time they attempted it on an anti-eco round. This time, though, they're allowed to get up in much more clean fashion, but it's still an even trade at the end of the day, and one that actually Luminosity might be able to take advantage upon. Neptune was brought down to 1 HP. Ward L's also incredibly low. It's Kusta that's to bail these 2 out and really clutch everything out from this point forward. Neither of the 2 other players on Ghost are going to be able to take really stable fights. The good news, though, is that Luminosity really pinholed themselves here. Nekas and Henny only going to be moving in from the lower tunnels. They don't have anyone pushing the other extremity to get into this site. So with only this one-dimensional retake to work with, it's going to be rough for these 2 players to force their way back in. Kusta gets aggressive, pushes them back, knocks out the second player, and we do see Nekas available for the trade. Problem is, he's going to walk directly into Wardell's crosshair after the fact, and that will be the closing shot that will end the round for Ghost once again.
A really nice use as well, I presume, of the timeout taken by the other team there in Ghost camps. That's actually, if everything's working out and you don't really need to take a timeout to fix specific issues, as a coach on the winning side, one of the best things you can do with that timeout time is just say, okay, that one thing that didn't work, what can we try to, like, maybe try to fix on that specific thing, or maybe it worked like pretty fine and they were just lucky hitting shots. But that's exactly what they were talking about, I feel like. Bit
of an odd choice when it came down to the economy for this round too for Luminosity. Yell bought into it. He's found impact with it already by being able to take down Sabrosa. No one else invested as heavily as him though. He's down at $350. The rest of the team is sitting around 2K. So he's severely handicapped himself if this ends up going poorly for at least the next round.
that has to be a misbuy. Like, there's no way that he's just going into this thinking, okay, I'm just going to solo glass cannon up. That has to have been a misclick.
Well, at the very minimum, it's tamed Ghost for the time being, as they're holding back, playing a lot more passively towards top mid and lower mid in the seconds. We're going to see them coming out of those tunnels, and there's a pinch potentially that could come in from this on Luminosity's side. I think Ghost are aware of it, though, so they're going to try to push them back a little bit more in utility before they themselves end up getting pinched out and shut down. So they're going up against a relatively non-existent buy from Luminosity, besides that op investment from Yell.
Smoke's being dropped onto short for the CT, if you want to go for that. Flashbang timing comes in, and that's the perfect flashbang timing for the CT drop. But he kind of gets all 3 CTs behind that smoke, gets them kind of safe some way. Yell will fire a random shot through and make it happen. Bomb side control has been taken though. Headshot angle, that is very unfortunate, and to be also a bad choice from Wardell to go into that duel, because it's so hard for you to hit that shot with an AWP. Now it's all on Steel and Neptune to hold this.
Very, very awkward post plan, and Nekes with a great peek immediately takes down Steel. It's down to the young gun now. Neptune going to have to bring this back in the 1v4. He's still going up against a lot of pistols, but he's still going to deal with that op as well. And Steel will be the one to close things out. He's happy about it too. Picks up that final frag and will finally pick up a second round for Luminosity.
Somehow, some way. 4 pistols and 1 op with no armor whatsoever, no utility in general. They picked that round up, and Ghost, they're kind of surprised by the fact that that could go so wrong.
And they had like 3 to 4 players alive as well at the end of the round. They barely took any damage from that one. The op just doing all the pressure really held Ghost back and had to make them think twice about every decision, which I think allowed for Luminosity to get away with so much on their own aggression there.
And for the first time, actually, we saw it seems like there's some server lag.
Yeah.
So this round is probably not going to count for anything.
That shouldn't be happening.
Yep.
Regardless, Ghost are going to walk right into B. So.
Yeah, I think this round is going to be played, so don't worry, guys.
Yeah, there's about a 99% chance this is a dead round. So we'll wait for final confirmation on the admins, of course, but I think it's going to be pretty safely concluded on that fact, since we didn't even see Luminosity exit spawn, so they probably called that right from the second of the round.
In my 2 years period of casting DreamHack Open events, I've never seen a server lag situation before. This is the first time I've seen this.
I've seen them like stutter once or twice.
Yeah, but not like this.
There's been jitter, but I've never seen a server like.
Interesting.
Maybe it overheated.
Atlanta, you know.
Yeah. Not right now. It's cold here.
Actually, today's gonna be pretty nice.
It was warmer this morning.
Yeah.
I noticed. And last night too.
It was so surreal, like traveling from Scandinavia to the southern part of the U.S. and then arriving in colder weather than what I left from. That makes no sense in my brain whatsoever.
Yeah, it was. I think it's been pretty cold across most of the states the past couple days, believe it or not. So even where I live in the middle of a desert, it was pretty cold before I left. So during the daytime, that is. So yes, you expect a desert to be cold at night.
That's fair enough. Overall,
Though, still a somewhat one-sided affair at this point, coming in from the Ghost roster as they take full control on Dust 2, with Luminosity in that last round just starting to fight back. But unfortunately, guys, it looks like this is a little bit more of a complex issue, so we are going to take a quick moment to fix that. Stick with us, and we'll be right back as soon as the server is rocking and ready to go. One more time, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to the DreamHack Open live from Atlanta. It's Luminosity Gaming going up against Ghost Gaming, and we are in the midst of our second map. Ghost currently holds the 1-0 advantage coming off of Train, and it's their map pick. They also currently have the lead as we prepare to re-enter the 9th round, and I assume we have the server fixed.
Yeah, definitely. Seems like we're ready to go. Ready to drop back into Dust 2. And with this buy from Luminosity, double up setup. 1 up on Wardell on the T side, full utility on both teams. This is a round that could show us a lot about how the rest of this first half is going to go. Henny going to try and go for the aggressive play onto short. Going to drop back down after missing the initial shot, but a very hard one to hit at that.
We do see Ghost going to continue to try and throw their a little bit of pressure at the moment over towards Ivy. Luminosity sitting on the other side of the equation. Well, again, really only has 1 player to defend it with. It's going to be Henny holding the close angle at the very top of ramp to try and shut down any pushes from Ghost on this side. But they've got presence at middle to go for a quick flank. Granted, that'll be watched by Ghost with 5 players still standing. And they also still have the long presence that can come from Lucas, too. But granted, that's not going to do much to stop the actual push on Cat. If it ends up being 4 or even 3 strong on Cat again, and he's in for a bit of a fight. He knows it. So he's going to try to work around these smokes as the drop down once more comes in from Steel. Steel, though, actually won't be able to find that much. Nekus is taking a different position this time. Oh, and look at that. He just saw Kusta. There was a break between 2 smokes, and he was able to spot through it. And picks up, actually, it's Yell that comes out from the B site to assist him with the first kill on Steel. 2 RTs also locked inside of CT spawn right now with no easy way to get out. Yell knows they're going to attempt to push from mid, but gets timinged anyway. Wardell will take him down with a peek coming out from Catwalk. There's counters in the mid presence too. Lucas pushes out from the long doors to find Neptune. We do see Sabrosa with a trade on Nekus, and we're now down to a 2v3 as a result of that. The bomb is going to burst out from CT spawn and tossed up to the other side. Henny will take a shot at it as well to see if it can make any connection, but it has successfully been transferred. In the meanwhile, though, Sabrosa goes down, meaning Wardell can no longer plant, and with his peek into the open by a ramp, Henny will take him down. It's LG that take the round instead.
I found a big hole in the defense there. All right, technically the offense of the T side as they took completely control of CT. 2 players dropped straight down and one had to stay there, Sabrosa for the end, and that's just exactly what Luminosity needs. They need these kind of like small situations to go their way. A bit lucky this time around that there's a gap in the smoke and Kusta is spotted there. That will not happen again, I'm sure. But they're going to take it anyway. They're going to be happy with it. They're going to take that momentum, the confidence it brings, and the economy that it brings to push on even further. Now the 3-man stack towards that A bomb site. They're not dueling for long because after a couple of rounds where Ghost has shown no presence towards that early long control, they're now saying, okay, you're not going to go play for that. Fine, we're going to adjust our defense to your short play and towards the B splits you like to do and all that. By 2 players on the B side, 1 player pushing aggressively short, but Neck is not going to be able to nail the duel. It's going to be Steel grabbing the kill.
Lucas will try to backpedal a little bit in the process. Finds the trade onto Steel. The problem is he's flashed out. Can't keep it consistent, and Sabrosa takes down a moment later. Steel from Luminosity runs into an issue when he tries to re-peek back to the bomb site to add some utility, but he'll be given that chance to re-peek anyway. Gets away with another kill, and the bomb is lost in the mist in the meanwhile. Thankfully, it's a quick dive to the inside for Neptune to retrieve it, and with that should be able to go for a plant opportunity, but he's got to be careful. Still partially in the open. I think he realized that no, wasted too much time. Now there's a molly on the ground. He doesn't feel safe to plant anymore. A counter molly comes to the other side, but no, it's only going to burn out Neptune now. Wardell finds the pickup, Yells there for the trade, and Wardell now sits alone in a 1v2 situation here. Against 2 ops as well. 1 in Henny's hands, 1 in Yell's. The most immediate threat, however, will come from Yell, back over at top by the window. Wardell doesn't see him moving in, hasn't been able to spot him, and in a second, he's going to deal with the flight coming in from Henny back by the tunnels. Wardell is in a very bad position here, and he doesn't even realize it. Is still caught standing still as Henny completes the flank and shuts out the round for LG.
Very unfortunate timing that I think it was Neptune who was not able to hold the door push coming in from Steel, because if he was in like 1 second later on that rotation, he would have been able to call, like catch Steel when he tried to go in and get that peek through the door, and then the bomb would have gone down before all the Molotovs. They would have had decent post-plant situation. They would have 3 players as well. And that small timing gap window where Steel is allowed to just look in towards the doors, grab a free kill, rotate back, that just sets the whole round apart. Changes everything. And Neptune, of course, probably going to be kicking himself after that, because it's not really a mistake, it's just like unlucky timing, but he just knows how much difference, like how big of a difference he could have made if that timing went in his favor. And in these last couple of rounds, like all those small like marginal things, all those timings, the smoke placements and all that stuff, that has been going to Luminosity, not into Ghost's favor. So they're getting those small kind of like lucky tweaks. They're not really doing anything for it, but they're getting it anyway.
It's been 2 very kind of chaotic and messy in some extent rounds that we've had back-to-back, and what an aggressive peek from Yell right to the mid doors. Even loses 66% of his HP, but is able to find a pick against the Barossa anyway. No respect being given at all here to Ghost, and Steel, well, virtually gives himself away to Luminosity. Nekus finds an easy frag against him, nearly chains it into a second one on Kust as well. Ghost already off to a losing start, unfortunately, here on the 11th round. It's looking like it's going to stay that way. Down to 2, now 1 players as Kusta jumps into the molly that was on the ground and leaves only Wardell alive.
Interesting to go for a low investment round, and still Neptune is buying down to 1200. I'm not really sure I understand that, because thanks to the losing bonus, he can't have enough money to go for full AK plus utility buy. That means he's going to be either on UMP or Mac 10 and full utility, or AK and maybe 2 flashbangs, I think.
certainly going to adversely affect the upcoming gun round. But meanwhile, for Luminosity, completely shutting down things on the anti-eco for them there. All 5 players standing tall at the end of that round, so good for their economy build up in the long run too. And they've got a bit of a streak going. It's 4 rounds straight for them currently, only 1 more away from tying it up. This has got to be it from Ghost. Wardell will come back in with the buy, but it's going to be Glass Cannon Op this time, whereas the rest of his team will be fully equipped. He'll be taking a risk at the beginning of this round though. Tries to go for an opening shot on the long player from the CT side, but misses. Neck is holding his own as well as he pushes past them indoors into the lower tunnels, nearly goes 2-0, but instead will trade out with Steel, leaving Steel with only 10 HP, and he'll be traded now by Steel from Luminosity.
Yeah, that one's interesting.
Yeah.
Neptune did get a rifle, but not the best one, of course. Had to go for the Galil due to the low amount of money. But still got decent utility with it, so not too bad. That 4-round losing bonus did net him a couple of extra flashbangs. And a smoke and Molotov. Rotating now to go for the B play, which is the right choice in this regard. 1 player down towards mid. And then Steel all alone here towards B. Steel does have a Molotov, so the second that he spots something, he's going to throw down the Molotov. Early flashbang, and actually also early Molotov. It's almost like he reads the display completely. He hasn't seen anything yet, remember.
Molly will continue to hold back Ghost as now. That expiring, they'll start their push to the outside. 45 seconds remaining. Luminosity are ready with their finger on the trigger on that rotate there towards the B bomb site. The flash out, and some of these footsteps should be confirming it, but no, it's 2 straight kills from Ghost instead, which now gives them an advantage, and an even bigger one with Wardell's shot. From the inside of the upper tunnels, it takes down everyone except Penny, who has to look for a trade, but he'll also get tagged by the op. No full kill against him, but he knows he's going to be pressured, tries to go for a quick flick, but instead gets a pistol to the face from Wardell, as despite the Glass Cannon op, he's able to find massive impact for Ghost and bring the round back for his team.
A big individual round there for Wardell, and also in general, just the team just going straight out for this push. Finding 2 frags very, very quickly. In general, just even though that the CT side seems like they had the red on it, they still just came in and won their straight-up duels, so very nicely done by Ghost. Not only great strategically, but also able to step up individually and just get those frags going. Wardell, the new superstar, who has been re-signed to the organization. They want to keep him for sure, and I can definitely understand that.
It was a multi-year signing as well, so
yep.
Something long-term is in the books for Ghost, and I'm a fan of that, to be honest.
Oh, for sure. That is the only way to go if you want to build a good CS team.
Very curious indeed to see where Ghost can take themselves, despite the elephant in the room when it comes to the team's limitations.
Oh yeah.
Still quite a bit that can be done off of the Valve circuit specifically.
Then again, they're like, of course, it sucks missing out on doing the minor and the major and all that stuff. But there's so many other tournaments that they can play in and dominate. Of course, it's sad to not see them at those tournaments, but that's with Valve, that's just how it is. Yep,
that's very much the way it is. But we are going to see Ghost try to go for cat control once more as they move themselves up onto the A bomb site. Smokes to cover their approach, and actually Luminosity really not even contesting this push at all. They really are just letting them walk on and trying to play more for retake here. They have the guns, they have a little bit of utility to stop Luminosity from moving in, but there's just no attempt at it. Neck is hoping he can sneak something out from inside of the smoke just outside of CT, but yeah, Fed absolutely nothing in terms of point of view. Finally makes a push, and only to be immediately shut down by Wardell. And Henny is not being given much either from the other side towards long. He does have support from another teammate. Oh, looks like that was on point, but no, it's a miss. And goes down to Sabrosa as a result. Yell did find a trade from just past CT, but it's too little too late. They've got to give this up. Luminosity have to call for a save, and Ghost will continue to push forward because of that. 8-5 will be the scoreline in just a few seconds here.
Once again, nice run by Wardell. Gets that one really, really nice shot. Quick flick. One frag, but also he keeps the pressure on the long control. So basically he's holding down the angle towards long, making a lot of noise. If anyone rotates in from CT, as we do see Lucas taken out, then they're going to be focused towards short because he's making a lot of noise. That's the first place you got to look. So not only does he create space for his teammates, not by getting frags, and then at the end he hits a really nice shot with the AWP. So 2 rounds in a row with Wardell has been, in my opinion, the best player on the server.
Yeah. Certainly he's woken up, that's for sure, in the last few rounds alone here to keep his team and really bring his team back to the fold as the winning force in this matchup here. It certainly looked like Luminosity had woken up for a moment too with the 4-round winning streak that they ended up going on. Just couldn't keep it going, couldn't carry it through to be able to take the lead away. And while again, there's good starts for Luminosity, a well-placed nade, nearly max damage nade, in fact, on a steal there, bringing them down to 44 HP. They need to do a whole lot more than that to close into these rounds, especially considering that they've only having the 2 saved guns from the last round to play with this time. Besides that, it's all pretty much default pistols. Lucas will have a deagle. An armor investment from him since he had a little bit of extra cash, but that'll be all we see from the CT side on this round.
Wardell with the AWP here. Slowly scoping in, and Ghost at this point, usually they do get around 8, 9 rounds on their T side, so already now a good T side for them. They have the potential of going even up to 10 with a pistol. Then we're talking like a really one-sided affair. So Ghost definitely looking happy right now, but we have seen something from Luminosity these couple of rounds and the streak that you were talking about. So we know it's not impossible for them to come back into this game and deliver. Lucas missing a couple of shots, but finally nailing the last one. Yell very close on that one as well.
We're going to see Ghost trying to wrap around this chaos that's happening in mid right now by pushing out towards long quickly. Steel obviously having to be a little bit careful as he approaches the site. He knows that the guys from Luminosity would have wanted to fall back, and there we go. Steel kills Steel. Nice shot found from Yell in response. Back by mid, though. Ghost, unfortunately, still fighting from behind when it comes to the manpower as a result of that trade. As they'll be down to 2v3, but everyone else alive on Luminosity also having retrieved guns at this point. It's no longer an eco round from Luminosity. They have the firepower to shut down and, more importantly, retake this site. They're going to start to push in, and we will end up seeing Yell take himself down with the drop damage. Again, that's primarily assisted, I think, by Neptune spamming into that a little bit too, but it's unfortunate, as now we end up seeing Henny left alone in the 1v2 situation. No way he can breach this site. Might as well save the op since they're on an eco anyway, and can carry that into the next gun round for free.
Looking forward to see that replay of Yell just dropping to his death.
I'm hoping there was some damage done by Neptune there, because if not, that's just poor timing, isn't it? Or that's just poor mental math, you would think.
I had that happen to me once, way back in the early days of 2007 at my first LAN in the semi-final, dropped down in a 1v1 and died.
Love to see that.
That was how I started my career of being a guy who was never good enough to play on the top level.
See. And did he even? I don't know if he got shot at. That might have just been his HP, to be honest. I didn't see any bullets, but
that's unfortunate.
I could have been blind, so.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, you hate to see that. But we do look at Ghost once again taking stride as we head into the 15th round. 9-5, a solid lead already established for them to bounce off the T side. Even if it does end up being 9-6 and we see Luminosity take this round, but 10-5 would certainly seal the deal, considering the fact that Ghost have won all 3 pistols that have been played out so far in this series.
Blue, they say you gotta fight fire with fire, but does it also like go into fighting steel with steel then?
Yeah.
If so, who wins?
Well, I would actually like a tally on it, because we've had like 4 or 5 steel kills steel, but I haven't been tracking which steel kills which steel, so.
Which is the best steel?
We need a steel versus steel graphic. How many times has one killed the other in this series?
Back in the day, I remember like players with the same name would do bets when they came to LAN.
Yeah.
So if they played in the best of 3 like playoff game, they would do a bet before the game, like the loser had to change his name.
I don't know if they agreed upon that here. They both had that name for a while. Might be some unfortunate branding consequences as a result of that one.
Rosa. Definitely never heard that name before. So he's gonna be fine on that.
That's an uncommon one. But we are gonna see Ghost push into Cat once again. They've got a little bit of pressure to throw it long this time. We probably won't see that happen for a few more moments. The rest of the team is moving in. We've got the bomb being dropped down, but it will be actually dropped by Lucas specifically as he takes down Steel from Ghost. It's Neptune that actually moves out from long and finds the trade. Sabrosa on the A site will pick up the only kill here so far. Henny holds his own, drops the bomb, takes out Sabrosa, but Neptune coming in on the long flank reassures control. And for Ghost, the only real issue would be retrieving the bomb in time and getting it up to the site. In fact, I don't think they have time. This is going to get dropped once more, and that's it. They're out of time. They can't get to the site anymore, and Yell realizes he can just play it out in the timer. So with that, Luminosity steal a 6th round away. Didn't really have to do much, to be honest. That was just poor timing, unfortunately, from Ghost.
That's a blunder right there. Ghost could have had that 10-5, but instead they're going to be happy with the 9-6 or try and be happy. The round is basically won at this point. They won all the duels, but the timing just not going their way. And that's an unfortunate round to win, but also a round that you really can't put so much on because in all, like, if you replay that round 100 times, 99 times they're going to win it. It doesn't matter. So not a lot that James, the coach, can focus on there.
Yeah, unfortunately, this got caught up trying to get kills on the A side. Just took them far too long to take out those initial A defenders. Like I said, Luminosity literally didn't have to do anything. They didn't really have to rotate in and pick up kills that way. The A defenders just wasted enough time on their own to the point where the bomb would have never logically gone down because it ended up getting dropped in that gunfight down below because they didn't take it on cap, because they decided to drop down with it and try to wrap it around on ramp instead. That was unfortunately Ghost's decision, which ends up costing them the round, and it wasn't the first time. That's, I think, the second or third time we saw the bomb go down on that approach towards ramp, down by CT.
We're ready to jump into the second half of this second map. In our semi-final, who's going to make it to the final? Right now it's looking like Ghost, but Luminosity, they have been known for throwing a wrench in the gears of many a solid team in their history.
It has been a perfect performance from Ghost on this map, to say the least here. Good starts on the pistol as per usual, though, for Ghost. Abroza with a quick one-tap and able to take down Steel. Molly will send him into the open with a firing squad awaits on the other side along there, and he will be able to find that trade, and we're down to a 4 versus 4. Steel did see the transition to pit that one player ended up making. I think it was Yell that jumped down there.
One thing that we have to keep in mind is that the rotation has happened behind them. Wardell is now in a really, really nice position that he doesn't need to challenge anything. He can just hold here, wait for someone to come into his position. If they push the A side, he can come in with a flank. So that means that the T side have to worry about 2 different angles at the same time. And this third one as well, because they get the gap in the smoke. Yell, though, just keeps finding headshots.
Being run over at this point. Neptune's going to try to force his way in, but he's already taken too much chip damage from the pistols where he's not really going to be able to jump into the open. 1 or 2 more major shots, and he's dead on the ground here. We'll try to use the smoke to reposition one more time. Wardell also suffering a pretty poor fate, but at least he comes out of it with a kill. Neptune, though, will find nothing this time around. And for the first time in this series, it's going to be Luminosity that take control of the pistol.
Finally, that's what they feel like. Took some time, and really nice standard default setup. Take long control, get one player into pit, have a Molotov for the guy towards car, take him out in that duel, and then just wait. Just hold the control towards long. Know that you have an opportunity, know that you have an advantage, and just play off that, and that's exactly what they do.
Ghost are going to gamble in a big way for this round. Checking this out. 5 players, all stacked towards B. 3 in mid, mind you.
Let's see. He's pushing down middle.
It is looking like it might play into Luminosity's hands. There's a pretty good chance that this could still split off and head towards Catwalk, though, for LG. So wouldn't call this anywhere near a success just yet, especially since it looks like they are going to at least poke onto Catwalk here and prod for info, which means as they walk up and get close to that site, they're probably going to realize it's wide open. Yeah,
that's usually what you do in these kind of anti-eco rounds, where you know Ghosts are not going to be throwing in a huge investment. Just go slowly forward, place the lower costing weapons first. That means the MP5 and the Galil, and just make them clear it. But they're not actually clearing the site for now. Looking like they want to take mid control, which could either be fantastic or horrible for Ghost. Let's wait and see.
Steel's going to move out now with the MP5 in hand.
It's going to be horrible.
And just to pick one up, though. Moves in to be able to take down Neptune at close range. The other 2 players, though, stay quiet. No peeks from any of them. But Luminosity are indeed going towards the A site, which means they'll be able to avoid this massive stack. Either the one player was a tip-off, or they're just making the right call here. Luminosity are going to walk right in, get an easy plant. They're going to face resistance, of course, from the players that are still stacked on just outside of the B doors, but they'll mean very little in the grand scheme of things as Steel has now reached the safe harbor inside of CT spawn. And there's not really much that any of the 4 remaining players on Ghost can do about this anymore.
Deep nade will take out Sabrosa, still with a 3-pointer. And Wardell will answer back with a Stifford Eagle, but surely nothing that can change the round in the big picture. We'll find a second one, and it's not going to change the round, but the economy does a lot of damage, or has been dealt a lot of damage. Wardell with his 2 frags, hoping to find a third one, but that's a very tough ask.
Wardell reaching for any kind of kills he can get at this point. If you bring him down to 2, it's good. He nearly does. It's at least 1 shot off against Yell. But still, all 3 of those remaining players on Luminosity will stay alive, and they're now only 1 more round away from tying this up at 9-9. But of course, that does mean we're probably going to see the early investment come in from the guys on the CT side, which would be Ghost to try and maintain their lead here.
That's where things get tricky.
No, actually, they don't go for it on the
they're
third
going to go for double op setup then on CT side in this next buy.
All right, so I take that back. We probably will see the tie unless something crazy happens here. And then Ghost is going to try to just fight on even turf at 9-9. Although, of course, they're still going to try their best to close out on this round. And they even traded it at the very minimum for the first engagement.
3-player stack towards long. Going to win a single duel. Trade 1 for 1 in general. And then the question is this boost down towards mid. Are they going to account for Henny coming in the back? No, they're not. It's going to be the spray down.
$1,200 to go with that spray down, of course. Nekkes will close out onto one of the last players. Sabrosa nearly being able to take down Nekkes. Will leave him one bullet away from being eliminated, and Sabrosa will go back. Just try to watch as many of these flanks as possible. Is really just hunting for heads at this point. The round is Luminosity's. They've taken it. It's going to be 9-9 in just a second. Sabrosa will be caught hopping back out from the catwalk where he'll be finished off, and Luminosity will indeed complete the round.
Key round coming up here. Probably going to be the double op CT setup for Ghost. And Luminosity going to surely upgrade. We're not going to see any more Mac 10s or Scouts or anything. It's going to be Nekkes staying on the Galil. And it's actually not going to be the double op setup, only the single op setup. They had the money for it. They could decide to go for it, but decided against it.
Steel like really hesitated on this buy for some reason, so maybe someone misbought or something like that, or they wanted to switch guns with someone to be able to get the secondary up onto the board, and it just didn't end up working out the way they wanted to. So yeah, Steel's gonna end up with quite a bit of extra cash because of that. He's sitting on 1650 right now, whereas the rest of his team pretty much bought down below 1,000. We've got Luminosity though, not really throwing a whole lot of pressure across the map to start, just kind of posturing with nades for the most part, as they stack up towards the mid doors once again, and are going to start investigating towards the tunnels and catwalk. Try and check for intel here. First kill is Henny's though. Finds the peek from Wardell at the mid doors and brings it into a 5v4.
And it's something like that we've been waiting for in this matchup, like Henny to step up and really dominate with the AWP, and hopefully he can bring that to the table here in Dust 2. Sabrosa, I think he just saw the feet of Yell there. That's why he's so eager to hold this angle. Spots it and takes it out. Very nicely done by him. Yell couldn't see because of that smoke.
Now, if Sabrosa wanted to get a little bit more aggressive and push out from the doors, he would have actually been able to see the bomb because they left it just outside of long, around that one corner. Won't be seeing that, but too bold for him. Tying 4v4 kill is enough for them to work with for now. Nekkes, though, is going to start creeping in, and he's not alone. He's got a little bit more support to move into this A site, and they're going to find the kill. Steal from Luminosity will be able to take down the other Steal. Sabrosa keeps the trades even, but did he miss the second player? Yeah, didn't realize he was there, so Nekkes picks up the trade. Lucas also finds another kill at mid and brings everything down to just Kust in the 1v3. He's already gone way back towards T-spawn, so that's almost a definite save already.
Yeah.
As we're going to see Luminosity push ahead at 10-9 on their opponent's map pick.
And that's such a terrible feeling for Ghost, because they felt like with this investment, okay, we have the chance, we need to get back in the game. Something didn't go right in the buy, it looked like. And then the whole round fell apart after that. I would probably advise them taking the time out either now or before the next buy, just to make sure that everyone's on the same page and breathing. Because it can be very tilting to lose rounds like this after you make like a small mistake. And then you kind of start focusing on mistakes instead of focusing on what's actually working out. And having that mentality going into a pro-level game is very dangerous.
Kusta, though, at least holds his own. He'll stay alive, keep the op in check for the next round, and that should mean full rebuys, I do believe, for everyone on Ghost, as they were sitting at around 4K. So we're going to see if they're able to pull that off, or if the money's going to end up being a little bit short, and they'll just have to support the op with upgraded pistols for the next round.
No pause this time around, just a couple of encouraging words. It's going to be the buy around it. Going to give it a second shot. Wardell with the AWP, obviously. And Henny 13-8 so far. Push towards short now from the CT side, but Nekkes is ready and waiting, ready to handle it. No worries whatsoever. Just going to wipe the floor with him right now. Luminosity mowing through Ghost at this point. It's looking very different from what we saw on train.
That was a full investment too, is the worst part.
Yep.
No response that comes in at all from the side of Ghost that time. So yeah, Luminosity are going to start getting amped up from that, as that's a full 5-man alive round win on a gun round basically for them, which keeps them in really good economic straits. For Ghost, it's starting to show signs of a lot of struggle for their own side, so they need to take a breather here. We need to start seeing those more consistent pauses like we were seeing back in the first map to really analyze what's going wrong. But I guess by not seeing those pauses, they just haven't figured it out yet. And we're going to see a very odd buy this next round. 3 scouts.
This is the low investment round, and then the next round is going to be the real full buy, and I am 99% sure we're going to see timeout before that. That's usually what you want to do. You want to give your players a chance to figure it out on their own, and then they can force buy. Didn't work, they get a chance here, probably not going to work either, and then you take the time out as a coach and say, okay guys, something is not working. Here is what I think could be the reason why. We need to find a solution. What is the solution?
And so we'll see in a second if they decide to do that. That's the big question here right now. But again, We just see a great example of the guys from Luminosity tearing through Ghost, which is an uncommon occurrence, at least for the series so far. Yeah, they're just grinding it out. I mean, they've got the double op set up now, so maybe this was the original plan from that first gun round, and they're just wanting to see if that works, and then if that fails, they'll call for a pause. But that's like a long time to go without reconfirming anything, so.
Very long time, and Kusta now under pressure down the mid. Well, not the first one, rotating away for that second duel.
Seems like the confidence in that plan from the previous gun round is placed well, at least for now, since they get themselves the 5v4 advantage with this setup. They're going to be under a lot of pressure soon. There was Luminosity wants to keep their foot on the gas pedal here. They're trying to push the Cat. They still have presence just outside of the B tunnel too. It looks like it's going to be a fake over towards this site on the Cat, and then trying to work their way in. Wardell with a nice up-close shot. Takes a lot of damage in the process. Both of the operas are now heavily injured. Nekaz, in the meanwhile, moves into the B bomb site, takes security, and the fact that they can clear this out without too much trouble. Just the kill on a Neptune was all they had to worry about. And now they're going to set Ghost up to try and go for a retake, but we're waiting for that bomb plant to come in, which is going to happen in just a moment. Only Kusta currently here. The rest of the teammates have to rotate in. Lucas was meant to run interference, but falls. The good news is, though, 3 players are now heavily lit, but Nekaz peeks directly into Kusta at the window, so that advantage via HP is no longer really an advantage when it's down to a 1v4. Only Henny on it off, trying to play this off. A quick first shot from him, tries to go for more, but is not going to find it. Kusta trades it out, and we see Ghost getting into double digits, only 2 rounds behind Luminosity.
Super important round for the self-confidence there. Not only does Steel, you need to give him the fist bump, Steel. Come on. The cameraman coming in there with the clutch face. But not only does Steel win that 1v1 duel that's not really in his favor, the ops are really showing up, and that's what they needed. I think that, as you said, like, that was the plan to begin with in that buy round that got messed up. And now they feel like, okay, now we're back on track. We know what the plan is now. We know what we need to do in order to win this game back around. Luminosity, though, investing into this, plenty of money on the bank account. That means even if they lose this, they're going to easily rebuy, and probably also the round after that.
Never doubt Steel, apparently, is the method to the madness there, as his plan does end up working after all. We'll see if they can keep it together for more than just one round, of course. Still a lot more here. The Ghosts need to try and piece together if they want an easy way back into this game and still want to try and close out this series in 2-0 fashion. Kusta does spot the movement from Xbox on the catwalk, so he knows they're going to be shifting presence over there. The problem for Kusta, though, is he might be focusing a little bit too much on it. Henny's walking up right now, but the good news is Kusta went a lot closer to the wall, so Henny's also got to reach a bit further if he wants to get in. Steel from Luminosity, in the meanwhile, found the first entry against Wardell into the A site, and Steel from Ghost, in the meantime, is still trying to hold back on this site, trying to find as many kills as possible, but no, has the tracing wrong. Henny and Nekaz both get kills. Kusta's pushed back into CT. Spawn does find one pick against Steel along the way, but it's a small gesture, as they're now down into a 2v4 without any real means to get back onto that site. They've got smokes, but the usefulness of those smokes is going to be called into question. Henny missing a point-blank shot in the meanwhile, loses his life, but you still have Lucas in the upper tunnels to correct that.
So, no worries then. It was just one duel, but the round will go their way. Luminosity going to reach 13. This is becoming a problem for Ghost. They thought it would be easy pickings on Dust 2. Luminosity looked shaken after Train discussing what went wrong backstage, but it seems like they found the solution now. And the number of Ghosts all dialed in.
Ghost really running out of opportunities here. Kusta does get his save, but I don't know where the money's going to be sitting at for the team. It cannot be in a good position at this point in the match, considering they just got their losing bonus reset, and they probably would have had to buy down relatively low to get into those gun rounds to begin with. So, for Luminosity, they have Ghost up against the wall. Really just one more solidifying round will close this out for them. Ghost is going to use a pause for the upcoming round. Still plenty more for them to try and utilize here, but they are running out of rounds to lose in the first place.
James just gave his input just before the camera showed him. Now it's up to the players to kind of discuss how to attack this. Up to Steel to kind of readjust the plans. But on the same time, on the same note, we also saw Sack just really driving it into his teammates. Okay, guys, this is what we need to do. We got this. Get that confidence going, get that aggressive play style. So I won't be surprised that even though that they know they're probably up against just a very low investment round, a often saved op, they're going to try and go aggressive, and they do that. Sadly, they faced the only player that they didn't want to face in that aggressive duel.
Look at this.
Oh no, oh wow.
Sabrosa does get spammed down a moment later. Lucas also follows that up by taking down the second player here, Steel. The mid presence also is not having nearly the amount of success that they would have liked for it to have. The flank from Wardell gets caught by the late push from Henny on the lower tunnels. And now Kusta is left alone. 1v3, they read into the fact that he's sitting just outside of CT by the ramp leading up to A, so they're just gonna pull the bomb to B and play it safely. Luminosity with a nice mid-round adjustment, avoid disaster, and do keep their lead in strong check now at 14-10, with Ghost Byron coming up, and realistically their last chance to save their 2-0.
That's for sure. Very nice play from Luminosity, and as I said, just getting straight out there, trying to take duels, pushing aggressively. Get inside the mind of your opposition. And Ghost now backs against the wall here in Dust 2.
Kusta's certainly going to be trying his best to stay alive, and he should be able to maintain this op without any real interference being run by Luminosity. They're not going to have nowhere near the amount of time they need to get to his position in pit, so he'll be really safe there, which means the op will carry through. He'll have a little bit of extra money. Shouldn't really need to donate much. Maybe give something to Wardell, but I think the team will be good going into the next round. Actually, no, he's only 3150, so maybe needs to drop something for him after. We'll see how that pans out, but guys on Ghost don't have a choice. They're at 14-10, so unless they want to play for overtime, they need to buy out here in an attempt to make or break.
This needs to be a huge round for Ghost Gaming. Wardell would have to step it up here with the AWP. But no, oh, it's a very late buy, actually. And once again, like, yes, I know we've been harping on about these timeouts. That's also something you could just use the timeout for if you have them. Just talk about the money, make sure that like you have enough time to get the weapons that you want and everyone on a decent setup so that you don't lose the initial positions. Luckily for them, even though they get 1-2 seconds late out of spawn, Luminosity doesn't push the issue, apart from Nekkis here in mid. Everyone else is staying fairly far behind. Almost like a gentleman's agreement, not to push. Neptune in this position here. We call it Kucher in my team, because every single time he plays that position, he wrecks us.
Well, it's going to be Neptune that has to do a little bit of the wrecking this time. And we'll see if he can find any impact at all, because more than likely this will just get smoked by Luminosity, if they even push for him into B, that is. We'll see in a second, because they're going to investigate towards Catwalk once more. And they'll find nothing on the initial contact point around the corner. And he, of course, is going for the usual pre-fire onto the Opera that would normally be standing on the pallets he just shot at. But we won't be seeing that this time. The Op positioned in a different spot. And the only one really defending this with some kind of scope rifle is Wardell on a scout. So He's going to look a little bit more vulnerable this time. The op is actually positioned on B site. Is the only thing defending against a tunnels push currently. But it looks like Luminosity are going to split their push up a little bit towards A. 3 going cat, 2 going long, and probably a little bit delayed after the push. Oh, they're going out first, actually. Gives Sabrosa a good chance to multi-frag. Can only go 1 for 1. Steel, though, misses his opportunity. Wardell was able to pick one with the scout, but also got picked moments later. And Neptune, with just an SMG, can't really hope to find as much impact from down here. Needs that extra support from Kusta, but even he's going to take a few seconds to get into a good position. Bomb's only just gone down, though, so there's still plenty of time to play off of.
Kid on Kusta, but Neptune's so close range, and he has to be the difference maker, but he's taken out. And now, with a 1v3, unless he gets a free opening, he does. Now it's possible.
Flow is the issue, though, and he doesn't expect Lucas to come from down below by CT, so it's still the quick closeout, and what was a 2v1 at that point. Kusta will be unsuccessful in the clutch again, and that does push Luminosity up on a map point. A surprise to be sure, considering what we saw from the first map. And now we have to see if they can finish this off to take us to, I believe, Inferno for our third and final map.
Very nice turnaround from Luminosity. You have to give them that. First off, train, as we discussed, didn't go their way. Then they had the technical issues, but they still were still just able to make it work, to focus on their own gameplay, not let it affect them. 15-10 up against Ghost, and now Steel has to make some magic with the Desert Eagle. He will hit the first one and rotates back. Not getting caught off guard just yet. Still trying to make this work, but surely now his death sentence has been written out. Oh, okay, Wardell comes in with a scout to help him out. It's going to be Lucas to finish the job.
Wardell's still going to hold a presence over here at the edge of long, though, waiting for Luminosity to commit to the push. It's not just him either. He can have Kusta peek out if he needs to. Problem is, Kusta's incredibly low. Can't really stay exposed for that long. But all the focus, at least from the Opper, is going to be on that top perch. Wardell hit from it, pushed back. Kusta tries to throw smoke. It's way too late for that. They can't afford to throw out utility at this point. They just have to fight. The scout once again falters. Neptune picks one up with a 5-7 and brings us into a 2v2. And in the meantime, Sabrosa is now rotated holding his position on cap, but he'll be spotted out.
Henny will conclude it with one final shot. Luminosity bring it back from the depths on the first map and take control of their opponent's map pick. They take Dust 2, they tie it up at 1-1 and send us to a third and final map to settle the series and determine our first grand finalist.
Such a great turnaround from Luminosity. Very nicely done by them. Keeping their composure, keeping their cool. Everyone's delivering on this second map. Now we can only look forward to the third one. It's going to be really interesting if they can keep it going, Luminosity, if they can complete the upset here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw all the players that needed to woke up this time from Luminosity. Henny specifically getting himself into the action finally with Jan. I think it was kind of assumed with Dust 2. It's a very op-friendly map. He had a lot of capability to work there. Didn't really have that. And that is probably going to continue going on to our third map. So all of a sudden, Ghost have a whole new factor that they didn't have to deal with on the first map. They couldn't really seem to deal with it that well on the second map. And it's still going to be there for the third map. So there's problems that Ghost need to settle quickly. Otherwise, they could potentially be looking at an elimination here.
Yeah, problems that needs to be solved. We're going to find out if they can solve it on map 3 just after this break. See you then.